Do you really think it's appropriate to use your $420,000 salary to attack scientists that disagree with you?
What happens when he gets out and accuses me of things that are completely untrue is that all of a sudden that kindles the crazies out there, and I have threats upon my life. A person was arrested who was on their way from Sacramento to Washington, D.C., at a speed stop in Iowa. And the police asked him where he was going, and he was going to Washington, D.C. to kill Dr. Fauci.
A heated exchange today between Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky and Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, in a Senate hearing on the pandemic. Dr. Fauci said his very life is at risk. Tonight, American schools are struggling to stay open amid the Omicron surge, while hospitals try to hang on till the spike passes. In California, doctors telling ABC News we are 100% broken and in complete disaster mode. So, is Omicron milder, or is it just milder if you're vaccinated? We talk with a doctor about why this wave may be different than others. Complicating testing and treatment in the surge, a brutal cold snap in the northeast. With wind chills dropping below zero, our Ginger Z is tracking it all. President Biden with a major voting rights speech in Georgia, urging the Senate to change its rules to push through reforms. But does he have the votes? And why did key leaders in Georgia decide not to show up to the speech? We're joined by one coming up. And on the other side of the world in Australia, a renewed fight for justice tonight as the killing of an Aboriginal man by prison guards echoes police killings of black Americans here in the US.
When you saw the images of those police officers putting their weight on George Floyd until he passed away, begging the officers, telling them that he couldn't breathe, and you compare it to David's death, it's incredibly similar. And I think Australians suddenly connected the dots.
And the miraculous landing. The medical helicopter crashed today. The 4 people aboard, including an infant, all okay tonight, despite this dramatic crash. Good evening. I'm James Longman in for Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Well, we begin tonight with the Omicron variant now accounting for virtually every new case of COVID-19 here in the United States. 5 weeks ago, the new variant made up less than 1% of all new cases. Tonight, that number is 98%. In New York, one of the hardest hit regions, perhaps a positive sign. The governor here saying cases may be starting to plateau. And this surge is different than last winter. This time, all Americans have access to vaccines. Hospitals are overwhelmed. One in Los Angeles telling us we are 100% broken and in complete disaster mode. The unvaccinated, though, face by far the biggest risk of ending up in the hospital. And then there's a debate over what to do about learning in person in schools. Districts facing COVID outbreaks forced to make incredibly difficult decisions. ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman leads us off tonight from Los Angeles.
Tonight, Omicron cases exploding, a record 1.4 million in a single day, driven by a backlog of reporting from the weekend. And those numbers pushing hospitals to the brink.
At the current moment, we are completely inundated with COVID patients. Our inpatient volumes are through the roof.
Facing that relentless surge, health officials on Capitol Hill today defending their pandemic response.
This is an extraordinary virus, the likes of which we have not seen even close to in well over 100 years. It is a very wily virus. It has fooled everybody all the time.
The acting FDA commissioner warning keeping essential services up and running remains the challenge and said that most people are going to get the virus.
I think it's hard to process what's actually happening right now, which is most people are going to get COVID.
For now, hospitals in California are forging through staffing shortages by telling healthcare workers who have COVID but are asymptomatic to come back to work. But nurses are pushing back.
Why would you instruct us to go back to the office if we're asymptomatic, COVID positive?
Is the concern that it's just going to spread the virus further?
Exactly. How is that going to stop the pandemic? We can spread it to whoever is in contact with us, as well as our own community. I work with vulnerable children. They do not need that. And then will they trust us? Oh, are you COVID positive or not?
But the unvaccinated face the greatest risk. They are 17 times more likely to be hospitalized and 20 times more likely to die. Indiana now seeing the highest death rate in the country.
Even though they say Omicron is probably more mild, I don't think we're necessarily seeing that with the unvaccinated. So it really is just like a second surge right on top of the last one.
But tonight there are signs of hope in some places first hit by Omicron. New York City, the first epicenter for the variant, now seeing cases dip 17% since January 1st. Our Stephanie Ramos is in nearby New Jersey, where they are seeing it firsthand.
I'd like to think that we are just at the crest of this Omicron surge. The numbers are starting to look a little bit better.
This as the CDC is reportedly considering updating its mask guidance, according to the Washington Post, to recommend N95 or KN95 masks over cloth masks. Studies conducted before the Omicron variant estimated for 2 people wearing cloth masks, it can take about half an hour to spread the virus from an infected person to an uninfected person in the same room. If they are both wearing surgical masks, it can take about an hour. But if they're both wearing N95 masks, it can take about 25 hours to cause an infection.
Our thanks to Matt. And with Omicron infections soaring, some of the country's top health officials face the heat today for the administration's COVID response on the Hill. The CDC director answering questions from lawmakers, and Dr. Fauci and Kentucky Senator Rand Paul squaring off over conspiracy theories and misinformation. Our Mary Bruce reports.
At that hearing today, Dr. Anthony Fauci fed up with Republican Senator Rand Paul, saying his repeated and false attacks are putting Fauci's life at risk.
What happens when he gets out and accuses me of things that are completely untrue is that all of a sudden that kindles the crazies out there, and I have threats upon my life, harassment of my family.
Today detailing one of the latest threats against him, a California man arrested during a traffic stop in Iowa last month.
The police asked him where he was going, and he was going to Washington, D.C. to kill Dr. Fauci. And they found in his car an AR-15 and multiple magazines of ammunition because he thinks that maybe I'm killing people.
Investigators say the man had a hit list, including former Presidents Clinton and Obama, and said he would kill President Biden if he didn't comply with his demands. As the public face of the pandemic response, Fauci has become a frequent target. He's previously described a terrifying experience, opening an anonymous letter delivered to his office, only to be covered in a cloud of white powder he thought might have been a deadly substance. It was later found not to be hazardous. Fauci today accusing the Republican senator of spreading dangerous lies for his own political gain.
Go to Rand Paul website and you see Fire Dr. Fauci with a little box that says contribute here. You can do $5, $10, $20, $100. So you are making a catastrophic epidemic for your political gain. So
you have politically attacked your colleagues.
Our thanks to Mary Bruce. For more now on the spike in COVID cases and hospitalizations, we bring in Dr. Jason Salemi, an epidemiology professor at the University of South Florida College of Public Health. Thank you so much for joining us, Doctor.
Thank you for having me, James.
Now, let's start with the severity of the Omicron variant. If you're fully vaccinated and boosted, symptoms might be relatively mild, but we've heard this so many times from people who are yet to get vaccinated or don't want to be vaccinated. They think Omicron is not that serious. You're a doctor. What's the truth? What about the unvaccinated?
So we're absolutely going to continue to hear about vaccinated and even some boosted people who continue to get infected with Omicron. Because community spread is so high, we're also going to hear about unvaccinated people who don't end up in the hospital. They get infected and they have an asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic infection. But here's the important data on how well these vaccines are working to prevent severe illness. Let's say your risk of hospitalization is 1 in 10 for somebody who is not vaccinated. It would be 1 in 20, so it's half of that risk for somebody who's gotten, let's say, 2 doses of Pfizer, but is overdue for their booster. And it would be reduced to 1 in 100 for somebody that has also received the booster shot. So the vaccines are incredibly effective against hospitalization and other forms of severe illness. Now, we are hearing about Omicron's severity. And we're starting to learn from some animal models that it looks like the intrinsic severity of Omicron is just a little bit less. It's more likely to stay up in your upper respiratory tract, less likely to get down into your lungs and cause things like pneumonia. But it's hard to really know how much less severe the variant is because at this point in the pandemic, we have a lot more people who have built up immunity, either because they've been vaccinated or because they've had a prior infection at some point prior to the Omicron surge. And of course, people who have some prior immunity are much less likely to end up in the hospital. So suffice it to say, the vaccines are doing exactly what they were designed to do. And the severity of Omicron, we're still learning about that every single day.
It seems to me that the issue with Omicron is that it's the contagion that's so serious here. So let's talk about masks. We saw that study that said if two people are wearing N95 masks, they could be around each other for 25 hours without spreading COVID. What do you advise people to do? Should we all be wearing the N95 or KN95s?
Well, look, to me, it's extremely important to understand that none of these mitigation efforts, not the vaccine, not masks, not distancing, none of them are foolproof in and of themselves. We should be wearing well-fitting, high-quality masks like a KN95 or an N95. But, for example, when kids are in schools, we also need to worry about ventilation and filtration of the air. And we need to also take advantage of rapid antigen testing to make sure that if we're symptomatic, we are certain it's not COVID, and to make sure that if we're going to be around people that might be vulnerable, we're taking advantage of these antigen tests. And again, making sure that we're not spreading this to people who may be more vulnerable.
Yeah, you talk about children there. I think, we've seen it not just in the United States, but around the world. Children do seem to be in the firing line, particularly for Omicron. How is it affecting children? We've heard these reports around diabetes. That's one issue. Can you explain specifically where Omicron is hitting children?
Yeah, so first of all, unfortunately, at this point in the pandemic, I know people don't want to hear it, but the data on Omicron are emerging as we speak. It's premature to know for certain. There's just, the thing about children is there's just so many infections. There's so much massive community spread among all age groups. And children tend to have some of the lowest vaccination rates if we're talking about kids 5 to 17 years of age. And then children like my son, who's 3 years old, cannot be protected through a vaccine. So it's important to realize that although we're starting to see some slowing increases in cases in places like New York City, every single state is still going up with cases. And we're going to see hospitalizations and ICU admissions and deaths. Those lag cases.
You spoke there about peaks, and different parts of the country are going to hit peaks at different times. How fast and how dramatically will case numbers drop? I think everyone is looking forward to that moment. And what will that mean for hospitalizations and deaths?
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at a country like South Africa, what you saw is a very, very rapid ascent and then a very rapid descent. The challenge when we look at the United States as a whole is that Omicron is impacting different regions at different times. So, for example, New York, the rest of the Northeast got hit early. And so when you look at the increases more recently, the lowest amount of increases are in the Northeast.
And a last question just here on children and schools. There's a raging debate about when and if to close schools and go remote. You've seen what's been going on in Chicago. In your opinion, is that necessary in some places? And if so, what's the bar to take that next step?
Now, that's a great question. I think it's very much situationally dependent. I think it depends on community spread, vaccination rates among staff, among students who can be vaccinated, the kind of mitigation efforts that we're putting in place in schools. And so, look, we all know that children deserve to be in school, but we deserve to also give them a safe environment to learn.
Dr. Salemi, thank you so much for all your insights, and stay safe.
Thank you so much, James.
Now to the major voting rights speech from President Biden in Georgia, endorsing consequential changes to Senate rules to enact voting rights legislation without Republican support. Biden saying the Senate is just a shell of its former self, but right now he just does not have all Democrats on board. And major civil rights leaders and Georgia groups boycotted the event. ABC's chief White House correspondent Cecilia Vega is with the president in Atlanta tonight.
In Atlanta, the heart of the civil rights movement, President Biden today visiting the grave of Martin Luther King Jr., later calling this a defining moment in history, demanding the Senate pass voting rights laws.
I've been having these quiet conversations with the members of Congress for the last 2 months. I'm tired of being quiet.
19 states passing restrictive voting laws in the wake of former President Trump's lies about a stolen election, taking aim at things like mail-in voting.
Voting by mail is a safe and convenient way to get more people to vote. So they're making it harder for you to vote by mail. The same way, I might add, in the 2020 election, President Trump voted from behind the desk in the White House in Florida.
The president specifically attacking Georgia.
It makes it illegal to bring your neighbors, your fellow voters, food or water while they wait in line to vote. What in the heck are we talking about? I mean, think about it. That's not America.
Georgia also limiting boxes where voters like Bridget Muldrow can drop their ballots. The child care worker saying she's not sure how she'll vote now.
Well, I've heard the new term, like the new Jim Crow 2.0, and it's kind of seeming like that, like trying to go backwards.
You feel like you're being targeted as an African-American woman in this state?
Yes. I do not appreciate that.
Today, for the first time, the president calling on Senate Democrats to change the Senate rules to allow them to pass voting rights legislation without any Republican support.
I believe that the threat to our democracy is so grave that we must find a way to pass these voting rights bills. Debate them, vote, let the majority prevail. And if that bare minimum is blocked, we have no option but to change the Senate rules, including getting rid of the filibuster for this.
But the reality is not all Democrats are on board. Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema standing firm in their opposition to doing away with the filibuster.
Each one of the members of the Senate is going to be judged by history on where they stood before the vote and where they stood after the vote.
And then this warning.
So I ask every elected official in America, how do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be on the side of Dr. King or George Wallace? Do you want to be on the side of John Lewis or Bull Connor? Do you want to be on the side of Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis? This is the moment to decide, to defend our elections, to defend our democracy.
And Cecilia Vega joins us now from Atlanta. Cecilia, this speech was to the entire country, but in essence, really an audience of two. The two Senate Democrats who are holding up that possibility of getting rid of the filibuster. What are the next steps in the Senate after today's speech, do you think?
Yeah, well, James, this was a bit of a shocker today because Senator Chuck Schumer says that he wants to see a vote potentially as early as tomorrow. So let me just recap for you what's at stake. Democrats in these bills want to see Election Day made a federal holiday. They want to allow the Justice Department to be able to police changes to voting laws in some states. The bottom line right now, though, James, President Biden still does not have the votes that he needs. You mentioned those two Senate Democrats. They are still not on board. In fact, Joe Manchin saying today he is still opposed to eliminating the filibuster. So we are still back at ground zero.
Not much has changed. Thank you so much, Cecilia. Well, joining us now is Nsé Ufot, the CEO of the New Georgia Project, which is an organization dedicated to registering and civically engaging Georgia voters. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Nsé. Since the January 6th, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, you and your organization have asked for a plan to pass federal voting rights protections. But no one from the New Georgia Project attended President Biden's speech today. Why was that? Did you watch the speech? You heard a bit of it there. What did you make of it?
I watched the speech, and I'm so proud of our president. And I echo his sentiments. We are tired of being quiet. I think one thing I would also add is that to the two senators that we've been talking about, Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema, and any elected official in this moment also has another choice. Do you want to be on the side of the January 5th Americans who sent it was a multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-generational coalition of Georgians that showed up to vote 9 weeks after the presidential election to send Senators Warnock and Ossoff to the election, to the Senate? Or do you want to be on the side of the January 6th Americans who broke into the Capitol with a failed murder plot for the vice president and a failed plot to interfere with the Electoral College vote, right? And so those are the choices that our elected officials have in this moment. And so I 100% am grateful to the president and the vice president for their travels to Georgia, for lifting up this issue and how incredibly urgent it is and how fundamental it is. I think that folks have tried to frame this as a partisan issue, as a garden variety Democrats versus Republican issue, and that is not what we are facing at all. This is much more sinister. This is these continuous attempts to deal grievous blows to our democracy and our elections infrastructure. Something has to be done, not now, but right now.
Well, you say you're proud of what the president is doing, but I think I'm right in saying that no one from the New Georgia Project went to the speech. We saw notable people kind of bowing out and not wanting to be seen there. He's been criticized for going to Georgia. Do you think he's doing enough? I mean, a lot of people have been saying, well, speeches aren't enough. So, I mean, what's your position on that?
Speeches are not enough. What we have asked for, what Georgians have asked for, is an expansion of federal voting rights protections. That is what the end game is. That is what the goal is, that we are being attacked. Our right to vote is being attacked. Our ability to choose our leaders and to self-govern is currently being attacked. And so the speech is helpful in communicating where the administration is, that the president has demanded a bill on his desk. And so I am hoping that the two senators that appear to be in the way in the U.S. Senate have received that message, as well as any other patriots in the U.S. Senate who understand what is happening right here and want to join Americans in protecting and preserving the fundamental sacred right to vote.
Well, what should President Biden be doing if not giving a speech in Georgia? Organizations like yours boycotted it, but then you know the reality in a 50 Senate means that serious reform is kind of almost impossible. So what materially is the administration supposed to do to move forward?
So I'm going to first start by saying that a boycott is a very specific tactic where you are not only withdrawing your labor or withdrawing your investment, but calling for others to do the same. That is not what is happening here. We are in a crisis moment. The Georgia State legislative session started yesterday. The Republicans are not done attacking our elections infrastructure. Not only did they pass Senate Bill 202 in 2021, a series of trash interventions that make it more difficult for Georgians to participate in our elections. They came back this year and said that they want to get rid of drop boxes. They are not done with their attack on our democracy. Lincoln County, a few hours away from Atlanta, one of the rural Black Belt counties, where over 33% of the voters are African American. They are planning to close 7 out of the 8 polling locations. And so folks are collecting signatures to block that from happening. County Board of Elections officials all over the state of Georgia, particularly Black ones, are being unceremoniously removed from their leadership positions as we speak, that we are under attack. So when I say that speeches are great and that I am happy to hear our president say that he is tired of being quiet, those things are absolutely true. What is also true is that we are in the middle of a fight to defend American democracy, that the crisis is happening now. I used to be concerned about being considered hyperbolic and how we are framing this, but if we do not do something about these attacks on our elections, these 400 bills that were introduced in 48 out of our 50 states, it's not just the November midterms that are at stake, the future of American democracy at stake. Our governor in Georgia just signed an awful map into law, and it will bind our hands for the next decade or more if something is not done to inject some sanity and to stop these attacks on our elections infrastructure.
It does feel that the administration is on your side in this. It's just kind of hamstrung by the fact that it's very difficult to get these things through the US Senate. I mean, I'm wondering if the administration reached out to you at all before today's speech?
Yes. We've been in constant communication with members of the administration. We've also been into West Virginia. We've been to Arizona. We've been to Texas. We've been to DC several times. Many members of our coalition have been arrested in fighting for and calling for these federal voting rights protections. We will not shut up. We will not pretend like we do not see what is happening. Again, this is not the Hatfields and the McCoys and a garden variety partisan ideological debate. This is something way more sinister. It has the ability to destabilize our nation, and we are looking to do any and everything that makes sense in order to advance this cause, to create the demand so that the president and the vice president of the United States know that this is priority number one amongst their base, amongst the folks who are responsible for making their tenure possible.
Enzi Ufot of the New Georgia Project, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Next tonight, to some of the coldest temperatures that some parts of the country have seen in years. The brutal cold forcing some COVID testing sites to close today. Our Trevor Ault has more.
Tonight, millions feeling the deep freeze in the Northeast as some areas endure the coldest day they've had in years.
Compared to today and yesterday, I've seen that it was a huge difference.
Negative wind chills making pedestrians miserable as the day started cold and stayed that way.
That biting, harsh wind making it feel so bitter outside, still feeling like it's 10 below in Worcester.
In Boston, a busted water main threatening for a time to turn streets into a skating rink.
We're doing the best we can under adverse conditions.
The city's mayor closing schools in part because it's too cold to keep the windows cracked.
We want to make sure there's no risk of students having issues in school because of the ventilation that's needed with the pandemic.
This COVID testing line would usually be around the block. Today it's empty, even with a heating tent, and others that are outside are closed entirely because you can't have people waiting hours in temperatures like this that cause frostbite in 30 minutes.
Warming shelters opening up across the region, like this one in Portland, Maine.
Right now, there's outreach workers all over the city letting folks know about this resource. Our main goal is to prevent loss of life.
And that freezing cold air is rocket fuel for lake effect snow, and it delivered, bringing up to 30 inches in just 24 hours for places like Oswego County, New York.
Thanks, Trevor, so much. So, how long will that brutal Arctic cold last? Well, let's get right to the lady who knows all about it, Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z. Ginger, how long do we need these parkas for? I was wearing my ski jacket all day today. It was not enough.
I said earlier, it's like your jacket needs a jacket. That's the type of cold we were dealing with. So, James, do me a favor. We'll make a deal here that you give me 24 hours, and I will give you 20-plus degrees. Things are going to get better for 2 days. And then it's going to go downhill again. But let's go ahead and go through the numbers. So talking about New York City, which today we did have our coldest daytime high temperature in nearly 3 years. So we haven't seen this type of Arctic air, which makes it feel even more appalling. We'll tick through the next 12 hours, right, till tomorrow morning. And the numbers don't improve significantly from where we were this morning. However, the sun will do its work, and those temperatures will moderate by tomorrow afternoon and Thursday. We're talking mid-40s for Philadelphia, Baltimore to near 50, Boston even. I mean, their wind chill today did not go above 0, but they're going to be 40 on Thursday afternoon. Just wait and it'll pass, right? Until you look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, and it remains below average all the way south to North Georgia. So we're not alone. I guess that's how we will sustain. Right, James? Keep that parka around. It can't hurt.
I'm keeping my frigid fingers crossed. Thank you so much, Ginger.
Thanks.
And when we come back, they are calling it the miraculous crash landing. And when you hear the details, you'll probably agree. The new inquiry that could once again sideline Novak Djokovic out of the Australian Open. But up next, they are some of the most incarcerated people in the world. Australia's Aboriginal community, their fight for dignity, and how they've been inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any place else. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast, now streaming on ABC News Live.
It was a scary time. In the 70s, you had multiple bodies showing up in Los Angeles.
There were so many murders happening. He had to have a name for it, serial killer.
There was a human head in there.
This was premeditated evil.
We have this clock. This person is going to do this again.
It's me against the killer. Who's going to win?
We'll see who laughs last.
What came next was unlike anything they had ever seen.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
I risked my life. I put my family in danger. If I was caught, they would have put a bullet in my head. But it was the right thing to do. It was the only thing to do.
Terror plot foiled in Garden City, Kansas.
That would have been one of the most deadly acts of domestic terrorism ever in the United States. It would have been Oklahoma City.
He put his family, himself in jeopardy for us.
24 hours, Assault on the Capitol, the ABC News original, exclusively on Hulu, now streaming. This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're gonna move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people
squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
National parks are incredibly safe places, but crime will happen.
Hey, my wife has fallen. She's in really critical condition.
At that time, I thought it was just a tragic accident.
There's still a lot of questions we need to ask.
There were small things that didn't totally add up.
This is 2 lives for Harold that have died now.
I was shocked.
Something's not right.
Superstar tennis player Novak Djokovic's battle with Australian officials may not be over. The government confirms it's looking into whether he'd lied on his travel declaration form about the countries he'd been to 14 days just before arriving down under. He said he'd not travelled, but pictures on social media suggest he may have been in Serbia over Christmas. Australian officials are considering cancelling his visa, despite a judge ruling he could stay and defend his Australian title. Staying down under, they are the most incarcerated group on earth. And when video of George Floyd's death shocked the world, it left some in Australia self-reflective. Britt Clennett files this report on the decades-long Aboriginal fight for dignity, and a warning some of the footage in this story is disturbing.
Come to the door, place your hands through the door. You're going to be handcuffed and moved to another cell. Fail to comply with any of my directions may result in the use of force.
David Dungay Jr., 26 years old, forcibly moved from his jail cell in Australia because he wouldn't stop eating biscuits. What happened next shocked a nation.
He was eating some biscuits and he'd had some sort of altercation with the guards.
Several guards, each identified by a letter and video released by the prison, restraining his body, his life slowly slipping away.
You can see him being subdued by police officers, shouting, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe," and it seems to fall on deaf ears.
Those haunting yet familiar words.
It's very devastating for all us family to hear that cry. How can they be so cruel?
David becoming unresponsive minutes after he was apprehended by guards. He was pronounced dead roughly an hour after that.
If those guards had just seen David's humanity, when he was begging for his life, he could have lived.
I'll tell you the story, the real story.
Latona Dungay has been fighting for reform since she lost her son while he was detained in Sydney's Long Bay prison 6 years ago.
And I will do anything to get justice.
She's been another torchbearer in a painfully long fight against what statistics show is suffocating systemic racism impacting Aboriginal Australians.
I'm speaking for David, he can't speak no more. And I know he'd want me to continue to keep busy and keep things going, make sure all our people safe again.
But it was events that unfolded on the other side of the world in 2020 in the United States that changed the course of her campaign.
I can breathe.
That desperate plea striking a chord deep within Latona.
I could pair them because they both had the same cries and they had the same colour.
Moving her to lend her solidarity to the Black Lives Matter movement in the US.
It's the same thing from Long Bay to the USA. It's black faces. It's black deaths. It's the same excuses coming from these same systems.
Down under, Floyd's death felt too familiar, galvanising tens of thousands to the streets.
When you saw the images of those police officers putting their weight on George Floyd until he passed away, and you compare it to David's death, it's incredibly similar. And I think Australians suddenly connected the dots.
They look like such happy kids.
Yeah, they were. And that's where he got diagnosed diabetes.
David was a diabetic who was diagnosed with psychological issues. He was serving out sentences for a home invasion and other offences at Long Bay.
Go, go, go.
When he got into an altercation with a guard who tried to stop him from eating biscuits or cookies, saying they feared he'd go into a diabetic coma. Other guards were brought in to move David into another cell for monitoring. They held David face down while he was sedated. The body-worn video chronicling David's last moments was shown in a coroner's court during a 2018 investigation. That state inquest from his death found that David died from cardiac arrhythmia, as well as other factors including his diabetes, antipsychotic medication and acute stress.
If the guards had just gone into his cell and taken the biscuits, he'd still be alive today. He was presenting no risk to anyone. They hung on to David for 9 minutes. And it was that delay that ultimately, and the weight that was on his back that ultimately caused his death.
The inquest found that officers weren't adequately trained, responded inappropriately to the incident, and improvements to the system should be made. But no one seen in this video was disciplined.
Don't go.
They should be punished. You'd get charged if you went and done that to a dog. It's life they took away.
Your son's life?
My son's life. They took his breath away.
Corrective Services of New South Wales issued a statement to ABC News, reading in part, "We acknowledge there were operational practices in use at that time of Mr Dungay's death at Long Bay Hospital in December 2015 that may have contributed to his death, and we have since made changes to policy and training procedures as a direct result." David's story is one of many tragic stories of Aboriginal Australians in the country's criminal justice system. In 2004, 17-year-old Thomas TJ Hickey fell off his bike and was impaled on a fence in Sydney's inner suburb of Redfern.
Police were patrolling, the young lad went past them. They continued on in their patrol, but he, for some reason, accelerated on his push bike.
Hickey had an outstanding warrant, but police denied they were pursuing him at the time. The teenager's death sparked one of the biggest race riots in recent Australian history. In 2018 in Western Australia, friends Christopher Drage and Tris Jack Simpson drowned as they were fleeing police, who suspected they broke into houses. And this past November, Stanley Russell was shot dead by police at his aunt's home in Sydney while being served an outstanding warrant.
He wasn't a bad man at all.
Indigenous Australians represent just 3% of the population, but make up 30% of the prisoner population, making them among the most jailed people in the world. A 1991 Royal Commission found that while Indigenous people were no more likely to die in prison, they were far more likely to be arrested and sent to prison. 30 years on, nearly 500 have since died in custody.
There's been no convictions ever from an Indigenous person dying in custody or any kind of police incident.
People don't understand that there is this entrenched systemic racism that runs throughout our justice system.
To understand how we got here, Australia's historically shadowy policies towards Indigenous Australians play a key role.
In the last 100 years or so, what we had done as white Australians is go in and take control of the lives of young children, take them away from their parents and put them into state custody or to church custody. And these became the stolen generations.
The Australian government has acknowledged the pain of Indigenous Australians. In 2008, former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd made a landmark speech saying what so many First Nations people had waited to hear.
For the pain, suffering and hurt of these stolen generations, their descendants and for their families left behind, we say sorry.
It's been 13 years since the apology, but Rudd says there's still so much work to do at all levels to prevent deaths in custody.
It takes political will, commitment and investment to ensure that the actual spaces themselves are safe for incarcerees. It is that absence of, frankly, high-level political and bureaucratic commitment and, in my judgment, accountability for what's gone wrong that lies at the base of the problem with Aboriginal deaths in custody.
With no official held responsible in her son's death, Latona is taking David's case to the United Nations.
She said to me, George, we're not getting anywhere in this country. We're going to have to embarrass the Australian government and take them offshore.
Find the defendant guilty.
In April 2021, George Floyd's killer, Derek Chauvin, was convicted in his murder. Latona hopes to see some justice for her son too.
Floyd got a chance, and my son could have a chance.
How do you want David to be remembered?
I just want him to be remembered that he was a human being, and he was going to come out to be a good man, and just hope that I get accountability.
Britt Clennett, ABC News, Sydney, Australia.
Just heartbreaking for Latona and her family. Our thanks to Britt for that. And a spokesperson for the United Nations Human Rights Committee told ABC News that Latona's petition is currently being assessed. They have not yet made a determination to take on her case. Well, still ahead, here on Prime, the new questions tonight about a deadly police shooting involving an off-duty deputy and why one North Carolina family doesn't believe the official account. And there is a new champion of college football. We take a look by the numbers. But first, our tweet of the day. Commentary on the weather affecting much of the country from Miss Piggy.
It was an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do you evade capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
It was a scary time. In the 70s, you had multiple bodies showing up in Los Angeles.
There were so many murders happening. You had to have a name for it. Serial killer.
There was a human head in there. This was premeditated evil.
You have this clock. This person is going to do this again.
It's me against the killer. Who's going to win?
We'll see who laughs last.
What came next was unlike anything they had ever seen.
World News Now.
And America This Morning.
The best new videos.
Breaking news overnight.
Your money and concerns about inflation.
The pandemic is not over.
The stories people are talking about.
You don't want to shave your legs? Don't. I was going to say. And what to expect in the day ahead.
From the top of the world, baby! ABC World News Now and America This Morning.
Weekday morning starting at 2 a.m. Eastern.
Up all night to keep you up to date.
This is American history. A violent white mob, a brutal attack, 300 Black Americans killed right here in America. Now, it is time to uncover Tulsa's buried truth. The gripping story brought to light in a new podcast from ABC News. Available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
When you wake up in the morning, when you wake up in the morning,
what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're gonna move back. Let's move back. We're surrounded by people squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
And welcome back. Tonight, the Georgia Bulldogs are still basking in the glow of winning the College Football National Championship Monday night. As you might imagine, I'm an expert in American football. Our version in the UK is called footy, just FYI. But let's go by the numbers on the Bulldogs' big win over Alabama. 33. That's the number of points Georgia scored last night over Alabama to secure their first national championship in decades. The Bulldogs hadn't won a national championship since 1980. I was not alive. England was just beginning its decades-long drought of choking in World Cup after World Cup, and Herschel Walker, who's now a candidate for Senate in Georgia, was a key contributor. That was 41 years ago. The Bulldogs had played in 514 games, or matches, as we call it in the UK, since they last won it all. And we can all appreciate a good underdog story, sort of like one of my favorite shows, Ted Lasso. Well, 5 years ago, Georgia's quarterback, number 13, Stetson Bennett IV, was a walk-on. He had zero shot of ever playing. He transferred to another school, bet on himself, and came back and won the job by ditching his smartphone for a flip phone so he could better focus, and outplaying 5-star recruits in the process. He is the first quarterback who was recruited as a 2-star prospect to win a national title. After the game, with the tears flowing down his cheeks, he said he hadn't cried in years, but he was overcome with emotion, sort of like the rest of the Bulldog Nation tonight. And we still have a ton to get to here on Prime. What we're now learning about that horrific fire in the Bronx. And music legend Janet Jackson opening up about women and music and revisiting that infamous Super Bowl moment. But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com.
Stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
It's an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do you evade capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
National parks are incredibly safe places, but crime will happen.
Hey, my wife had fallen. She's in really critical condition.
At that time, I thought it was just a tragic accident.
There's still a lot of questions we need to ask.
There were small things that didn't totally add up.
This is 2 lives for Harold that have died now. I was shocked. Something's not right.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
Seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know,
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it? Feel smarter.
feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live. It's all about you.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's the time of suspicion.
The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're gonna move back. Let's move back. We're surrounded by people squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
Dr. Anthony Fauci in the hot seat over the latest wave of COVID cases driven by the Omicron variant.
There's a 17 times greater chance of being hospitalized and a 20 times greater chance of dying if you are unvaccinated versus vaccinated.
He told the Senate subcommittee the latest oral medications given emergency authorization by the FDA are proving effective in helping manage severe illness.
In California, state officials going against some CDC guidance, allowing COVID-positive healthcare employees to return to work if they're asymptomatic without isolating or testing. But some hopeful news out of New York, where the governor says cases are down for the first time in weeks.
But they're still high. They're still high.
There is an investigation underway into a deadly police shooting involving an off-duty deputy in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Authorities today releasing the 911 call from Deputy Jeffrey Hash made moments after Jason Walker was shot and killed. The deputy telling the operator Walker had jumped onto the hood of his pickup, the family inside.
Driving down the road, and he came flying across Bingham Drive, running, and then I stopped so I wouldn't hit him, and he jumped on my car and started screaming, pulled my windshield wipers off and started beating my windshield and broke my windshield. I had my wife and my daughter in my vehicle.
The man's family doesn't believe the police report. They say he was unarmed. The deputy has been placed on administrative leave, the FBI joining the investigation.
In Pennsylvania, a medical helicopter transporting a patient to Philadelphia Children's Hospital crashed in Upper Darby just outside the city. The 4 people on board, including an infant, made it out safely.
No non-life-threatening injuries. The child has been transported to CHOP, and the other 2 were at local hospitals.
The cause of the crash is under investigation.
It's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle. Here, what you see behind you, how this, and there's no debris, no wires down. Can't wait to meet this gentleman, shake his hand for getting this plane down the helicopter the way he did.
New York City's medical examiner now says all 17 people who died in a Bronx high-rise fire died of smoke inhalation. Investigators are trying to figure out why safety doors in the building that would have slowed the spread of the fire failed to close. Authorities in Philadelphia say last week's deadly fire in a public housing unit started with a Christmas tree. They indicated a surviving 5-year-old playing with the lighter accidentally sparked the fire that killed 12 people.
The U.S. Mint has begun shipping out quarters honoring late author and poet Maya Angelou. Mint deputy director said that Angelou was chosen because she used her words to inspire and uplift. The quarter shows Angelou's arms stretched out and upward. Behind her, there is a bird in flight and a rising sun. Angelou's quarter is the first to be released as part of the U.S. Mint's American Women Quarters program. Coins featuring other honorees will ship this year through 2025. Olympic officials have come up with a high-tech way to feed people attending the Olympics. Robots are dishing out meals to limit human contact and possible COVID exposure. Journalists were among the first people to test out the robotic delivery systems. Noodles, burgers, and other food are being prepared by machines, and then a customer scans their receipt to have their food slid through a small opening by a robotic arm. Or QR food is being dropped from the ceiling on trays.
Next, to the Queen of Rhythm Nation, Janet Jackson, opening up about women in the industry and that infamous Super Bowl moment. Katie Hartung has the details.
Hey, you guys, it's me, Janet, and welcome to my Allure cover shoot.
Allure magazine taking us behind the scenes of the pop superstar's February cover shoot and proclaiming Janet Jackson is still in control. I wanna be the one in control. More than 30 years after she first sang those lyrics, Jackson is praising the control she sees women in the industry taking today. Artists like Lizzo defining their own beauty standards. telling Allure she spent her early years trying to learn to love me for me, my body, all of that, trying to feel comfortable and embracing that, throwing myself into the lion's den. Now, she loves seeing women of all sizes accepted, comfortable in their skin, in their size, in being full-figured.
Why did you want to do this documentary?
It's just something that needs to be done.
Ahead of her new tell-all documentary premiere, and just weeks away from this year's Super Bowl, Jackson revisiting the uproar her infamous halftime performance caused, even though she says it's tough for me to talk about that time.
Justin and his team have been trying to contact us about you doing the Super Bowl.
She's only formally discussed it once before with Oprah in 2006, and at that time pledged never to go into it again. But years later, she says she recognizes, whether she wants to or not, she's a part of the debate still raging over gender bias, and tells Allure, I think it's important that conversation has been had, and things have changed obviously since then, for the better.
Well, before we go tonight, the image of the day. Take a look at this. This is what leftover spaghetti looks like when it's 30 degrees below zero. The scientist who posted this online says he left it outside Mount Washington Observatory in New Hampshire and was obviously unable to eat these leftovers. That fork is stuck in place. I hope your dinner's a little warmer tonight. That's our show for this hour. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks for streaming with us. And coming up in the next hour, more on Biden's big speech on voting rights. But will anything come of it? And is he in jeopardy of losing some of his base? And why the Red Cross is sounding the alarm. Stay with us.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source. This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're gonna move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run with...
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
The ladies you love, the hottest topics happening now. There's only one place to find it all.
You guys are having the hard conversations. I love The View.
The most watched #1 daytime talk show is The View. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It was a scary time.
In the 70s, you had multiple bodies showing up in Los Angeles.
There were so many murders happening. You had to have a name for it. Serial killer.
There was a human head in there. This was premeditated evil.
We have this clock. This person is going to do this again.
It's me against the killer. Who's going to win?
We'll see who laughs last.
What came next was unlike anything they had ever seen.
ABC News honored winner of 9 Edward R. Murrow Awards, more than any other network, including winning for the 3rd straight year the award for overall excellence in television. ABC News is America's #1 news source. With so much at stake. More Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 newscast and the #1 program on television.
I'm James Longman, in for Lindsay Davis. Thanks for streaming with us. We are monitoring several developments here at ABC News at this hour. And there was a particularly heated moment during a hearing about the administration's COVID response. Senator Rand Paul once again on the attack against Dr. Fauci, accusing him of conspiracy and cover-ups. Dr. Fauci shot back, saying misinformation like that has led to threats on his life. Earlier this afternoon, one of the suspects in the murder of rapper Young Dolph was arrested in Indiana. Justin Johnson, known by the stage name Straight Drop, has a history of violence, and authorities say more details about his arrest will be released tomorrow. Separately, a grand jury indicted Cornelius Smith today for his connection to the murder of young Dolph Smith, who is 32 and is being held without bail. The Red Cross is declaring its first ever blood crisis. The agency warning the nation's supplies are dangerously low. The pandemic is being blamed for the drop in donations and the cancellation of blood drives. Some centres are reporting less than a one-day supply of some blood types. Well, with the 2022 midterm elections less than 10 months away, President Biden is making his biggest push yet to advocate for the passage of a new federal voting rights bill. He made a stop in Georgia today, calling for changes to the Senate's filibuster rule so a bill can be passed with just 50 Democratic votes. But not everyone in his own party is on board with his message. Chief White House correspondent Cecilia Vega reports.
In Atlanta, the heart of the civil rights movement, President Biden today visiting the grave of Martin Luther King Jr., later calling this a defining moment in history, demanding the Senate pass voting rights laws.
I've been having these quiet conversations with the members of Congress for the last 2 months. I'm tired of being quiet.
19 states passing restrictive voting laws in the wake of former President Trump's lies about a stolen election, taking aim at things like mail-in voting.
Voting by mail is a safe and convenient way to get more people to vote. So they're making it harder for you to vote by mail. The same way, I might add, in the 2020 election, President Trump voted from behind the desk in the White House in Florida.
The president specifically attacking Georgia.
It makes it illegal to bring your neighbors, your fellow voters, food or water while they wait in line to vote. What in the heck are we talking about? I mean, think about it. That's not America.
Georgia also limiting boxes where voters like Bridget Muldrow can drop their ballots. The child care worker saying she's not sure how she'll vote now.
Well, I've heard the new term, like the new Jim Crow 2.0. And it's kind of seeming like that, like trying to go backwards.
You feel like you're being targeted as an African-American woman in this state?
Yes. I do not appreciate that.
Today, for the first time, the president calling on Senate Democrats to change the Senate rules to allow them to pass voting rights legislation without any Republican support.
I believe that the threat to our democracy is so grave that we must find a way to pass these voting rights bills. Debate them, vote, let the majority prevail. And if that bare minimum is blocked, we have no option but to change the Senate rules, including getting rid of the filibuster for this.
But the reality is not all Democrats are on board. Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema standing firm in their opposition to doing away with the filibuster.
Each one of the members of the Senate is going to be judged by history on where they stood before the vote and where they stood after the vote.
And then this warning.
So I ask every elected official in America, how do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be on the side of Dr. King or George Wallace? Do you want to be on the side of John Lewis or Bull Connor? Do you want to be on the side of Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis? This is the moment to decide, to defend our elections, to defend our democracy.
Well, let's bring in ABC News political director Rick Klein. Rick, what did you make of President Biden's speech?
James, a big moment in the presidency, a soaring rhetoric and a clear delineation in his mind of what side you're going to end up on. But I think the catch in this is going to be what the progress is. He returns to Washington tonight without having changed any of the realities that have set in around this for the better part of a year. Democrats don't have the votes, the 50 votes that it would take to change the Senate rules. Therefore, this legislation remains stalled. So even as we hurtle toward a vote, it remains something of a foregone conclusion, and it's going to be a bitter disappointment to lots of people who are rooting for Joe Biden to succeed to see that result.
We had the head of the new Georgia Project, NCO, for earlier, and she did not want to criticize the president. I asked her again and again, why didn't you turn up? Why aren't these groups there? And she just didn't want to say anything. But it's clearly an issue for the administration that they don't seem to have these groups on side.
These are the groups that want him to succeed. They want to see this legislation pass, but they are frustrated by the lack of progress, and they are recognizing also that the time for speeches has almost certainly passed. We're maybe about 5 or 6 weeks away from the first votes being cast in primaries in the 2022 midterms. States have already, for the most part, put in their new boundaries around redistricting. The time to change the laws was last year, when states like Georgia, Texas, and 17 other states made those changes and made more restrictive voting access. The federal situation has always been you need to have all the Democrats together to unite to vote. And nothing that Joe Biden said tonight changed that math. And I think those civil rights groups, again, they're on the side of the president, they're on the side of Democrats, but they are very cognizant of the perceptions of frustration and stalling on this legislation, and they don't want to see more speeches. They were as adamant as you can be, stay in Washington, or maybe go to West Virginia and to Arizona, to the home states of the senators that are on the fence.
Rick, you know, I can tell you as a foreigner watching U.S. politics, the impression that everyone has around the world is that this is a country completely divided, that it's really difficult to get sides talking to one another. But it seems that even within the Democratic Party there are divisions. Is there any shot Democrats can come together to get rid of the filibuster? It would seem, despite Biden's speech today, they just don't have the votes.
Yeah, look, they don't. And James, that perception isn't exactly wrong. Now, maybe the foundations are stronger, and the appeal that President Biden made to his own party and to the other party breaks something of a logjam. There's still a window here potentially for a very narrow set of circumstances for just one bill to pass, or one rules change, I should say, to pass. But realistically speaking, we are now where we have always been. And yes, that division, a 50-50 Senate, means it's something striking in President Biden's speech today. He says when you've got a 50-50 Senate, you've got 51 presidents.
There has been a lot of criticism leveled at the administration that they tried really hard on infrastructure, and it doesn't seem that they're trying that hard on these issues of election reform. But, you know, it's an existential issue, isn't it, for the Republican Party to kind of give up the idea that they could just sort of give up these rules. There are conservative movements around the world that won't give up on election reform because it means that they somehow will be changing the rules of the game, fixing a game which will be harder to win in the future. It just seems like such an uphill battle. It would seem the president does face this battle to get election reform done. How possible is it that he can? And if he can't, how bad is that going into these midterms?
I think you're right, James. And there's actually two different battles that are going on here. One is to change election laws, and Republicans don't want to see the federal government take that over in any way, shape, or form. The other is the filibuster, which is a power that the minority uses to block legislation. And that is the Republican situation now. The most effective thing they can do in Washington is to use that filibuster. As for the consequences for President Biden, look, he is stuck with the same situation that he had at the beginning of this day, the beginning of this year, the beginning of last year. And those kind of losses, that kind of frustration adds up. The base is already a little bit less motivated maybe than the opposition is, and I think this is likely to go down as another loss. Always a possibility, but the best that the White House can say is at least they gave it a shot.
Rick Klein, as ever, thank you so much.
Thank you, James.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic. The country continues to see record COVID cases in this latest winter surge. Roughly 1 in 70 Americans now testing positive last week alone. But amid this surge, some of the nation's largest school districts are returning to in-person learning. ABC's Matt Gutman has more.
Tonight, Omicron cases exploding, a record 1.4 million in a single day, driven by a backlog of reporting from the weekend. and those numbers pushing hospitals to the brink.
At the current moment, we are completely inundated with COVID patients. Our inpatient volumes are through the roof.
Facing that relentless surge, health officials on Capitol Hill today defending their pandemic response.
This is an extraordinary virus, the likes of which we have not seen even close to in well over 100 years. It is a very wily virus. It has fooled everybody all the time.
The acting FDA commissioner warning keeping essential services up and running remains the challenge, and said that most people are going to get the virus.
I think it's hard to process what's actually happening right now, which is most people are going to get COVID.
For now, hospitals in California are forging through staffing shortages by telling healthcare workers who have COVID but are asymptomatic to come back to work. But nurses are pushing back.
Why would you instruct us to go back to the office if we're asymptomatic, COVID positive?
Is the concern that it's just going to spread the virus further?
Exactly. How is that going to stop the pandemic? We can spread it to whoever is in contact with us, as well as our own community. I work with vulnerable children. They do not need that. And then will they trust us? Oh, are you COVID positive or not?
But the unvaccinated face the greatest risk. They are 17 times more likely to be hospitalized and 20 times more likely to die. Indiana now seeing the highest death rate in the country.
Even though they say Omicron is probably more mild, I don't think we're necessarily seeing that with the unvaccinated. So it really is just like a second surge right on top of the last one.
But tonight there are signs of hope in some places first hit by Omicron. New York City, the first epicenter for the variant, now seeing cases dip 17% since January 1st. Our Stephanie Ramos is in nearby New Jersey, where they are seeing it firsthand.
I'd like to think that we are just at the crest of this Omicron surge. The numbers are starting to look a little bit better.
This as the CDC is reportedly considering updating its mask guidance, according to the Washington Post, to recommend N95 or KN95 masks over cloth masks. Studies conducted before the Omicron variant estimated for 2 people wearing cloth masks, it can take about half an hour to spread the virus from an infected person to an uninfected person in the same room. If they are both wearing surgical masks, it can take about an hour. But if they're both wearing N95 masks, it can take about 25 hours to cause an infection. James, health officials with whom I've spoken say that the CDC is expected to upgrade its guidance on masks by the end of this week. Now, health officials have since Omicron been urging people to upgrade their masks, specifically moving away from those cloth masks. Health officials also telling us today that they're ramping up production of N95s to try to make those more available to those who want them. James.
Matt, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Now, next tonight, to some of the coldest temperatures some parts of the country have seen in years. The brutal cold forcing some COVID testing sites to close today. Our Trevor Alt has more.
Tonight, millions feeling the deep freeze in the Northeast as some areas endure the coldest day they've had in years.
Compared to today and yesterday, I've seen that it was a huge difference.
Negative wind chills making pedestrians miserable as the day started cold and stayed that way.
That biting, harsh wind making it feel so bitter outside, still feeling like it's 10 below in Worcester.
In Boston, a busted water main threatening for a time to turn streets into a skating rink.
We're doing the best we can under adverse conditions.
The city's mayor closing schools in part because it's too cold to keep the windows cracked.
We want to make sure there's no risk of students having issues in school because of the ventilation that's needed with the pandemic.
This COVID testing line would usually be around the block. Today it's empty, even with a heating tent, and others that are outside are closed entirely because you can't have people waiting hours in temperatures like this that cause frostbite in 30 minutes.
Warming shelters opening up across the region, like this one in Portland, Maine.
Right now, there's outreach workers all over the city letting folks know about this resource. Our main goal is to prevent loss of life.
And that freezing cold air is rocket fuel for lake effect snow, and it delivered, bringing up to 30 inches in just 24 hours for places like Oswego County, New York.
Emergency workers have been patrolling the city all day looking for people who need shelter, and another big blast of cold is coming later this week. James?
Thanks, Trevor, so much. So, how long will that brutal Arctic cold last? Well, let's get right to the lady who knows all about it, Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z. Ginger, how long do we need these parkas for? I was wearing my ski jacket all day today. It was not enough.
I said earlier, it's like your jacket needs a jacket. That's the type of cold we were dealing with. So, James, do me a favor. We'll make a deal here that you give me 24 hours, and I will give you 20-plus degrees. Things are going to get better for 2 days. And then it's going to go downhill again. But let's go ahead and go through the numbers. So, talking about New York City, which today we did have our coldest daytime high temperature in nearly 3 years. So we haven't seen this type of Arctic air, which makes it feel even more appalling. We'll tick through the next 12 hours, right, till tomorrow morning. And the numbers don't improve significantly from where we were this morning. However, the sun will do its work, and those temperatures will moderate by tomorrow afternoon and Thursday. We're talking mid-40s for Philadelphia, Baltimore to near 50, Boston even. I mean, their wind chill today did not go above 0, but they're going to be 40 on Thursday afternoon. Just wait and it'll pass, right? Until you look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, and it remains below average all the way south to North Georgia. So we're not alone. I guess that's how we will sustain. Right, James? Keep that parka around. It can't hurt.
I'm keeping my frigid fingers crossed. Thank you so much, Ginger.
Thanks.
Well, now to the mystery over why the FAA temporarily ordered all airplanes to stop taking off or landing at a number of West Coast airports yesterday. The FAA says the matter is under review, but there's speculation that the ground stop was a response to the North Korean missile launch that happened around the same time. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez, who covers aviation.
Tonight, questions mounting after the FAA issued a ground stop for several West Coast airports Monday.
Some sort of national security threat's going on, and we are not allowing aircraft to maneuver in the area at the moment.
The ground stop lasting less than 15 minutes. Pilots and control towers confused. From San Diego.
What's the ground stop for?
We don't know. We are trying to find out. It is everybody nationwide.
Interesting.
To Oregon.
Can you give us any indication of what's going on right now, Grumman 38 Lima, we don't know anything about it. We just got the notice.
The order given around the time North Korea claims to have launched a hypersonic missile. The FAA in a statement today not mentioning that missile launch, but saying the pause was issued as a matter of precaution and that the agency regularly takes precautionary measures.
And Gio Benitez joins us now. Gio, this sounds a little scary. What's the latest from the FAA, and has the White House reacted to any of this?
Well, James, the White House has not confirmed whether that launch led to the ground stop, but they say that no Americans were in danger, so that's the good news there. But no doubt about it, the FAA says tonight that it is reviewing it all, so it is still very much a mystery, James.
You said that. It's certainly a mystery. Thank you so much, Gio. Terrifying moments in Pennsylvania after a medical helicopter with an infant on board made a crash landing, the pilot being hailed a hero. ABC's Ariel Reshev has the details.
We've never done this in a human.
This morning, surgeons at the University of Maryland cautiously celebrating an apparent medical breakthrough, successfully implanting a pig heart into a patient with end-stage heart disease.
He's awake. He is recovering and speaking to his caregivers, and we hope that the recovery that he is having now will continue.
The first of its kind procedure, 57-year-old David Bennett's last chance for survival.
We apologize for that. This is the right piece, a medical milestone. In a historic first, a gravely ill man has received a pig's heart in transplant surgery, and he's said to be doing well. The cutting-edge science is providing new hope to many. Here's Morgan Norwood with the latest.
We've never done this in a human.
Doctors in Maryland are celebrating a groundbreaking surgery after successfully implanting a genetically modified pig's heart into a patient with end-stage heart disease.
The animal heart was functioning, by my eye at least, just about as normal as we could have expected.
The 9-hour operation was 57-year-old David Bennett's last chance for survival after he was deemed ineligible for traditional transplant.
This was crisis mode. This was my dad was
on his deathbed.
Doctors replaced Bennett's heart with one from a 240-pound pig, which was modified to function like a human heart without immediate rejection by the body.
It is a game changer. We have modified 10 genes in this pig heart. 4 genes were knocked out. 3 of them responsible for producing antibodies that causes rejection.
For now, this procedure is still experimental, not ready for everyone who needs a transplant. And the long-term prognosis for this type of transplant is still unknown. But the potential life-saving benefits are enormous.
Approximately 12 people die every single day while on the organ transplantation waiting list. So whether it's 3D printing or growing organs in a lab setting or donation, we desperately need more organs. So this is a potential reason for real optimism down the road, many years down the road.
Fascinating. And still to come, the secrets of the Waffle House revealed. I know you want to know.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any place else. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast, now streaming on ABC News Live.
It was a scary time. In the 70s, you had multiple bodies showing up in Los Angeles.
There were so many murders happening. You had to have a name for it, serial killer.
There was a human head in there. This was premeditated evil.
We have this clock. This person is going to do this again.
It's me against the killer. Who's going to win?
We'll see who laughs last.
What came next was unlike anything they had ever seen.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
I risked my life. I put my family in danger. If I was caught, they would have put a bullet in my head. But it was the right thing to do. It was the only thing to do.
Terror plot foiled in Garden City, Kansas.
That would have been one of the most deadly acts of domestic terrorism ever in the United States. It would have been Oklahoma City.
He put his family, himself, in jeopardy for us.
24 hours, assault on the Capitol. The ABC News original, exclusively on Hulu. Now streaming. This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're gonna move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
National parks are incredibly safe places. A crime will happen.
Hey, Mama. My wife has fallen. She's in really critical condition.
At that time, I thought it was just a tragic accident.
There's still a lot of questions we need to ask.
There were small things that didn't totally add up.
This is 2 lives for Harold that have died now. I was shocked. Something's not right.
We're tracking several headlines around the world. Hundreds of people were left homeless in a slum in northern Chile after a fire destroyed hundreds of homes. You can see people there looking for their belongings in the debris. Firefighters faced severe difficulties supplying their trucks with water while fighting the fire. Authorities have set up shelters for the 280 families affected. So far, none has been reported injured. In Italy, a nurse was arrested for allegedly pretending to give COVID-19 vaccinations in exchange for a fee, according to police. 4 others accused of aiding the scheme are also under house arrest. The group are accused of faking at least 50 vaccinations and receiving at least $20,000. This comes as COVID infections in Italy are topping more than 100,000 new cases per day. In Cambodia, a hero died today, but it's not who you might think. Magawa, an African giant pouched rat, has passed away at the age of 8, according to the organization that trained him. His job? Detecting landmines. 3 decades of wars left behind all kinds of weapons in the Southeast Asian country. Cambodia has one of the highest rates of landmines per capita in the world. Magawa detected 100 landmines and other explosives during his career before retiring last year. Well, back now to those terrifying moments in Pennsylvania after a medical helicopter with an infant on board made a crash landing. The pilot is being hailed a hero. ABC's Ariel Reshev has the details.
Tonight, the pilot of this medical helicopter pulling off a, quote, miracle landing after the aircraft suddenly dropped from the sky, narrowly missing a church in suburban Philadelphia.
The pilot's possibly unconscious. Use caution. There's fuel leaking.
Rescue crews rushing to the scene, helping pull an infant patient and all 3 crew members from the wreckage, none with life-threatening injuries. The LifeNet medical flight taking off around 1 p.m. from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, carrying the 2-month-old to a local children's hospital. Witnesses say the helicopter appeared to be in distress and flying low before hitting the ground and toppling onto its side.
The noise was so loud, I actually thought maybe it was a bomb.
The pilot navigating power lines and buildings to crash land the helicopter safely with no injuries on the ground. The police superintendent praising his skill.
Can't wait to meet this gentleman and shake his hand for getting this down the helicopter the way he did.
And James, everyone who was on board that helicopter is said to be doing well tonight, including that infant who was being transported. The NTSB and FAA are now investigating. James?
Ariel Reshev, thank you. Well, their lips over at Waffle House have been sealed tight until now. If you've ever visited a Waffle House and wanted to know some of its secrets, our Will Gans breaks it all down.
First rule of Waffle House:
upside down jelly means wheat toast. Apple butter means raisin toast.
Don't talk about Waffle House. But Michael Layton is racking up hundreds of thousands of views on TikTok, spilling secrets about the restaurant chain.
2 weeks in, I'm getting like 5,000 views a video. 3 weeks in, I'm getting like followers every 5 minutes. And now it's just like it comments every 5 minutes. You know, it's crazy.
The most popular videos focusing on the Waffle House marking system.
All the way to the left there is a plain omelet. At the bottom is a bacon omelet. To the right is a sausage omelet, and up top is a ham omelet.
For newer employees, a chart for guidance.
It probably took me a couple weeks to just get the basics down.
But now, 4 years later, Michael loves the marking system. He prefers it to trying to read off of a printed ticket.
It's honestly preferable because I've tried reading off the ticket before, and you have to keep looking at it to try and see what you're doing. But with the marking system, I just look over at the 6 plates, and I instantly know, okay, scrambled cheese, overlight, bacon cheesesteak melt, instead of having to read, you know what I mean?
Some online still aren't convinced. Wouldn't it be easier to use the written language? They're out here acting like the other team is trying to steal their plays. But Michael's happy to mark the plate, even for more complicated orders, like his own favorite, the bacon cheesesteak melt with onions.
Ketchup means cheesesteak, piece of ham means a half bacon, 2 strips of bacon, 2 pieces of cheese, 2 pieces of buttered Texas toast, with a piece of hash brown up top.
It's like a foreign language. You're literally speaking a foreign language, but with food.
A secret language never tasted so good.
And there it is, my favorite sandwich.
Well, Will Gans now has a degree in waffles, which I'm sure he loves. That is our show for tonight. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm James Longman. Thank you for streaming with us.
An extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to